A hush fell over the economy cabin the moment the flight attendant's voice cracked like thunder. "I said settle down and stop touching that," she barked, eyes blazing, finger jabbing the air like a weapon. Every passenger turned, confused, anxious. Some clutched their armrests. Others lifted their phones discreetly. But all eyes landed on the girl, 16, slim, dressed in navy jeans and a pink hoodie, frozen mid-motion near the window. Her hand had barely brushed the overhead control. Her eyes, wide with disbelief, shimmered with embarrassment and confusion. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell to get notified for more, share to friends. Where are you watching from? Please tell us in the comments. We love seeing how far our story goes. She glanced down at her trembling fingers, then at the flight attendant towering above her, breathing heavy. The woman leaned closer, her breath warm and angry. "Don't play with that again, or I'll have you thrown off this flight." Silence. Then a whisper from a few rows back, "But she didn't do anything." Another voice, "That was way too harsh." The girl swallowed, nodded slowly. "I'm sorry. I didn't know it was." "You did know," the flight attendant cut in, snapping. "You people always pretend like you don't understand rules." Her mother, seated beside her, flinched. She'd kept her cool until now, but the last line lit something in her eyes. The woman's hand gripped the armrest so tightly her knuckles went pale. "I don't want any trouble," she muttered, standing. Her voice was low, firm. "We just want to get home." The flight attendant rolled her eyes. "Then tell your daughter to behave. This isn't some school bus from the ghetto." A few gasps scattered through the rows like dropped marbles. A man in business attire shifted uncomfortably. Two college-aged girls exchanged disgusted glances. The teen girl slowly pulled out her phone. Her fingers tapped with measured calm. The attendant glared at the screen. "No filming on board." "I'm not filming," the girl said softly. "I'm texting someone." "Oh, really?" the woman scoffed. "And who are you texting?" "Instagram." "TikTok." "No," the girl looked up. "My lawyer." The flight attendant laughed. Loud, mocking. "Right. And I'm Beyoncé." The girl smiled politely and tapped send. 20 minutes later, the plane had begun taxiing, the incident already fading into small murmurs. Some tried to sleep. Others opened their in-flight magazines. The teenage girl calmly placed earbuds in her ears. Her mother leaned back, visibly drained. Then came the voice on the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We've just been instructed to return to the gate. Please remain seated." Gasps broke out. Confused murmuring rose like static. Back at the gate, uniformed airport security personnel stood waiting. Beside them, a woman in a sharp charcoal suit, hair neatly tied back, held a badge at her side. Her face was unreadable, composed like still water. The cabin door hissed open. Passengers craned to see who was being taken out. The charcoal-suited woman stepped on board and exchanged a few words with the head flight attendant, who paled instantly. "Could you please step outside with me for a moment?" the suited woman asked, calm yet commanding. The attendant followed, barely managing to hide her panic. Whispers flew around the plane. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Suddenly, the captain returned to the intercom. "We apologize for the delay, but due to an ongoing investigation and in cooperation with airport security, this flight has been grounded indefinitely. Alternate arrangements will be made. Please remain seated until instructed." Pandemonium. Voices clashed in confusion and frustration. A man stormed toward the aisle, only to be halted by a crew member. "What is happening?" someone cried. The girl and her mother remained seated, calm, almost expectant. 1 hour later, the entire crew was escorted off the aircraft. Every passenger was asked to disembark and head back through security. The teenage girl stood last, her mother beside her. The woman in the charcoal suit approached. "Miss Carter." The teen nodded. "I'm Special Investigator Naomi Bell with FAA Discriminatory Conduct Division. You made contact with our emergency hotline." "Yes, ma'am," she said, handing her phone over. The messages, recordings, time-stamped photos, every detail was there. I wasn't trying to get anyone in trouble. But she humiliated me. And I've had enough of staying quiet. Naomi studied the girl a moment longer, then gave a small nod of respect. You did the right thing. Thank you for staying calm. The story exploded the next morning. Teen girl grounded plane after alleged racism by flight attendant. FAA launches full investigation. High school senior shuts down flight with a single text, I just wanted respect. Lawyer revealed to be civil rights icon's granddaughter, justice now a family legacy. Social media erupted. The video clips from other passengers backed up the story. Footage of the girl quietly enduring the humiliation, the audible line, you people, the unnecessary aggression, everything was caught and posted. Within 48 hours, the airline issued a formal apology. The flight attendant was suspended pending further review. But the wave had already started. Former passengers came forward with similar stories. Rudeness, profiling, humiliation, all swept under corporate rugs. Back in Atlanta, the girl sat in her grandmother's kitchen, stirring hot cocoa. I didn't mean for all that to happen, she said. Her grandmother, slim, elegant, with eyes like sharpened steel, nodded slowly. You didn't make it happen. The system did. You just refused to let it continue. The girl looked down. I wasn't brave. I just got tired. Sometimes, tired is the beginning of change, the grandmother replied, gently placing a hand over hers. You planted a seed. And now, they're going to have to deal with the roots. 3 weeks later, a memo leaked from the airline's internal ethics committee. They were instituting mandatory racial sensitivity training. Anonymous reporting systems for passengers. Real-time cabin surveillance to ensure incidents like this would never go unseen again. And then came the twist. A video surfaced, one that hadn't made it to the media the first time. It showed the flight attendant, months prior, involved in a similar verbal altercation with a young boy and his father. Same tone. Same disdain. But back then, no one had recorded anything. Until now. That family filed a class action suit. The airline scrambled. In a modest press conference, the teenage girl stood behind a podium, flanked by her mother, her grandmother, and a civil rights attorney. I didn't want attention. I just wanted to be treated like a human being, she said, voice steady. My skin isn't a threat. My presence isn't a crime. My voice matters. Yours does too. Reporters clapped softly. One wiped a tear. Outside, a protest had started. Peaceful. Determined. Airline staff of color held up signs. Dignity over discrimination. Fly fair. She spoke for U.S. And then, the final twist. The teen was offered a full college scholarship by one of the nation's top universities. Not for the fame, but for the courage to challenge injustice with calm, focus, and clarity. The airline, under investigation. Their policies, being rewritten. Their image, reshaped by the truth. Moral lesson. One voice, spoken calmly against injustice, can shake systems that seemed untouchable. Discrimination, no matter how subtle or open, leaves a trail. The next generation isn't waiting for permission to challenge it. They're doing it with phones, proof, and the kind of courage that doesn't shout, but acts. This story reminds us, power doesn't always come from age, position, or uniform. Sometimes, it's the teenager in the pink hoodie, tired of being invisible, who grounds the entire plane of injustice.